Hello everybody, and welcome back to another MirkLurk tutorial. So, this is part 3. We're going to try and make this a speed run of tips and tricks to help you when you're first beginning MirkLurk. Alright, so number 1, the most easiest, most obvious, is make sure you gather enough stones to create a bunch of campfires. You want to have, at minimum, one campfire in every single zone. Placing it on the ground does not cause the campfire to deteriorate and go away at the time of recording, so it is very imperative that you make at least one campfire and have one everywhere. My personal recommendation is you have one in the starting zone, and you have that one right outside the base, like I currently do. You put one in the surrounding zone, as we can see here for me, that is D5, and then you put one in the surroundings to those of C5 and D4. After that, put 2 in every zone if you can. The reason for this is because you will oftentimes run into situations where you have to come back to the starting zones only to gather resources that are simple and easy, or to buy and sell things. I strongly encourage that you make sure that you have multiple campfires and you kind of divide the map. So, as an example, C4, C3, or B4, and A4 are one straight line. If I were to put a campfire on the rightmost half, we're just going to call that the easternmost half, and one on the westernmost half, then I would be able to get into the zone, have it kind of roughly in the middle of that zone, and be like, okay, boom, I'm always within, let's just say, 100 steps of a campfire. And if I'm on the other half of the map, within 100 steps of that campfire. Just make sure that you either have a map or that you remember and memorize the terrain of the zone. Zones are not very big. Next tip and trick, when you're creating food, always cook all your food at the time that you have it. It doesn't expire or spoil, but you never know when you might want to sell the food, and cooked food sells for more than uncooked food. It's pretty straightforward. Next up, when you are passing time within the radius of a campfire, everything you are wearing, everything on the ground within that area will start to dry out and will start to lose wetness. So as we can see here, I have 0% wet. This was at 100% from the previous video, all because of a campfire that I had going here. Additionally, your warmth will go up, but it will only go up to the point where you are considered comfortable. This is important. You do not want this to be too warm or too cold. So even though it is currently cold outside, as long as I stay near this campfire, within this radius that you can lightly see on the ground, I will remain comfortable. Now, fires do not last forever. It is always worth your time to make sure that you put enough fuel into your fire to last the entire night, for the night is long and dark and full of terrors. In reality, it's because it's really freaking cold, and if you can keep it warm, then you won't have to worry about that when you wake up and having to immediately start another fire. So, strongly encourage it. We're going to go ahead and actually chop down some more wood here. The wood chopping part is a little finicky. Even though I'm hovering over this branch, it's still trying to tell me that I want the trunk, which I don't. So you'll sometimes have to kind of move a little bit to position yourself so you can actually get what you want. So like here, it says I'm on that when I wasn't. There we go. We chop down that branch. Nice and easy. If we hover over this tree, we can see that the cover of this tree has changed. Chopping off branches will make it so that the tree provides less protection. Keep this in mind. It's very important when it's raining that you chop down a tree that is not the tree that you are currently sitting under. You want firewood? Get the firewood from another tree. Nope, don't want to sweep. We'll deal with sweep in just a minute. I can't click on that. Alright, that's fine. There is unfortunately no rapid way to really do this other than exactly how I'm doing it. But there we go. I have 42 turns, 68 turns until it is dawn. We're going to go ahead and chop down another part of this tree because, unfortunately, the tree itself is not providing any cover anyways. In fact, you know what? We'll take the whole tree down. Now that we've taken the tree down, we can get logs. Logs can be split and turned into firewood, just like in the real world. This can be very beneficial. Do I not have enough inventory? I don't have enough inventory. Alright, we're going to do a little bit of Jenga here real quick to make it so that we do have enough inventory for the logs. Logs are also extremely heavy. Keep this in mind. But there we go. The log burns for 10 turns. This is pretty good. In a pinch, directly throwing a log into a fire is perfectly acceptable. Or even starting a fire with just a log can be perfectly acceptable. It'll instantly give you 100% chance to start a fire without your tools, so it can be worthwhile. Alternatively, converting that log into firewood, like this, uses 1 log, but will give you 6 firewood. That 6 firewood will burn for 18 turns. Significantly more than the log burns for. Something to keep in mind. Yes, it does cost AP, however, to do this, but it can sometimes be worth your time to do it. So, up to you. As you can see here, I am currently very low energy, very tired, so I have a chance to screw up if I wanted to actually do something, and I'm extremely overburdened. So, these are all really important things. Well-being gets minus 2% each turn. This is a problem. I do not want to lose that much well-being per turn. So, what we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and throw a log in here and immediately use 1 up. Now it's only minus 1% and a 60% increase penalty to my AP costs. Again, not great. It is what it is. Use up another one. Now it's only 20%, and I no longer lose wellness. In fact, I am gaining wellness because I am currently okay on all my stats. The next tip, the most important stat to keep in mind at all times, how hot or cold are you? My stamina being low, minus 0.2. Not a big deal. I can wait 2 or 3 turns. This will go back up. Don't care. My focus, 14%. I'm getting minus 0.1. This goes down to, I think, also minus 0.2. Don't care. Both of these can be at 0, and I can still function and be okay for a long time. Hunger. When your hunger is super low, you're losing, I think, minus 0.5. That is a lot, but it only takes like 20% for this to equal 0%, plus or minus. So keeping you in somewhere between the 20% to 50% range, perfectly acceptable. I strongly encourage this, especially in the beginning of the game. Resources are scarce in the beginning, especially food, so keeping it so that you're only just above starving can be very beneficial. Always keep your food on you. Make sure that you use it appropriately and don't waste it. Now, if you do waste it, which we're going to go ahead and do here, you will see that now I'm getting plus 0.5. I'm still gaining plus 0.5. There was no difference between being at 50% and being at 97%. But if we look here, you get the well-fed bonus. Once you get, I think it's above 95% or somewhere up here, once you get almost full on your sat, you will get several turns of well-fed. All the actions that you do will consume less stamina. This is truly only relevant late game. When you have your sat goes down slower, when you have plenty of abundant food, you can start wasting it like this. Early game, don't do it. Don't fall into that trap of thinking, oh, the stamina. Your stamina doesn't matter. As you can see here, I have 5% stamina, and I have half a bar here. We're going to go ahead and use up one more piece of food, I think. There we go. All right. 12 turns of well-fed, blah, blah, blah. So when I hit pause here, I should only gain a tiny amount of stamina. Right? So I went up to 10%. But what happens when I use an entire bar of AP? 32% stamina. Another entire bar of AP. 74. Final bar of AP. Just like that, I'm already back up to 100% stamina. 3 turns. That was it. I do not encourage overeating in order to get this bonus. It's just not worth it. So, alright, so that takes care of that. Now, our focus is low enough, we're getting minus 0.2. Our warmth is fine, thanks to this fire. The fire will not last the entire night. We are going to go ahead and fix this. That's actually going to be my next tip. Don't waste AP, especially in the early game. I could sit here, and I could go and hit pause and regain all my stamina, but really, once you get it to around 30%, the penalties and risks that you're going to hurt yourself or fail go away. So once you're around that 30 to 40% mark, instead, use your AP to do something like, for instance, chopping the log into firewood. I have now made a stack of 6 firewood, just like this. I have only paid a tiny amount of stamina. I'm going to go ahead and spend that log just like that. Same amount of stamina, more or less, right? I've used up the log, chopped up this log. My weight penalty went away because chopped firewood weighs less. This weighs 7 pounds. That is significantly less than a whole log. So just something to kind of keep in mind. It will be sunrise in 58 turns. You have 2 options for how to get through the night. Option number 1, you sit and rest hitting the T key, just like this. You will gain focus by resting, but it is not the most efficient, and it takes a while. But you get to be awake, you get to see everything going on around you, so if creatures start to sneak up on you, things like that, you can be aware of it. Other option is to sleep. Whether you're using a tent like I am, or a sleeping bag on the ground, you always want to make sure that you put the tent in a place where it's not going to be getting terribly wet, and where you can be covered up. So we're going to go ahead and pick this one up, which is kind of a waste of resources, but that's okay. We're going to take a look at this tree right here. It is... Actually, it doesn't look like we have the cover. Well, that's okay. None of these trees have cover to be underneath where our fire is. That is fine. We will go ahead and... You know what? We're just going to go ahead and camp out underneath without being under a tree. Being under a tree means that this will not get as wet. As you can see here, these are all getting really wet. But that is fine. So, placement. Placement matters. If you place it out in the open, like something like this, or something like this, then your concealment number will be lower. Concealment is the chance that an enemy will notice you as it is wandering around the zone. Placing it up high in the open is worse than placing it down low and in a corner. Like, let's just say like I was hiding up against a building or hiding behind some rocks or something like that. Right? Right here, placing it here, 82. Here, 83. Here, 99. Something you can do, another tip, you can put your sleeping bag out and you can point it all around the map, even though you're not putting it down. And as the concealment drops, this tells you where the enemies are. So as you can see here, I have a 76% chance of concealment over here. But I have a 90% over here. That means there is enemies in this direction, somewhere, but not in this direction. Up here, as you can see, it drops, it drops, it drops, and then it goes back up. And then we start going this way, and it's dropping again, and oh! It fell off a cliff. Why did it fall off a cliff here? Because there's almost certainly an enemy right up there. So, be very careful about where you place your sleeping bag to make sure that you do not get discovered. You also cannot place it more than 1 square away from you. So I could place it 1 square away, but not 2, like this. So I can place it here, I can place it here, but I cannot place it here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and... Fire is good. Oh, you also cannot rotate. Unlike attacking, where you can right-click to rotate the angle, you cannot rotate the angle of your sleeping arrangement at the moment. I have put a suggestion in that that should be a thing, but for now, it is not. So, be careful where you place your stuff. Now, when you go to sleep, 2 options. Sleep until fully focused, sleep until sunrise. In the early game, you will always be choosing sleep until sunrise. Even though you are going to be wasting time by not sleeping focused, traveling at night in the dark is very dangerous. There are briar patches that you can hurt yourself on. There are enemies that, while you can technically see them, if you really zoom in and you pay really close attention, you can see them in the dark. You may not necessarily know what it is. You might mistake one type of bug for another, more dangerous type. So, be very careful. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and sleep until sunrise. Now, as we can see here, it starts going by really quick. At midnight every day, you get 10 XP. At least in the beginning of the game. I don't know if that lasts forever, but at the beginning of the game, you get it every midnight. So, free way to get some XP if you're unable to fight or you're playing on really hard difficulties, things like that. There we go. It is now dawn. There is dawn, day, afternoon, dusk, and night, basically. So, the temperatures will change based upon what time it is. As you can see here, even though I've been within the fire, I am still cold. This is because I was being rained on the entire time, and I slept instead of sat near this fire. Sleeping does not reduce the wetness as efficiently as being near the fire and sitting and resting near the fire. So, just keep that in mind. Also, pause and wasting a whole turn only did 1.8. But walking near this fire, we're going to go ahead and just walk back and forth here and use up most of a bar. Much, much more. So if you have the ability and the patience, always walk around your fires or do other things like crafting instead of just simply resting, sleeping, what have you. Alright, so that should about cover it as far as fires go. We're going to go ahead and leave this here. Next up, we're going to go deal with the early game money making. This is my next set of tips. Probably some of my most important tips, in my opinion. In the very beginning, you start with almost nothing. Some really crappy gear. You have these worn socks. You do not have good pants. You do not have a good shirt. You do not have a hat. You do not have boots. You don't have any of this. You get a really crappy bag. The starter bag only holds about half of what this one holds. So very first thing is you want to get a bigger inventory. How do we do that? Crafting. What are we going to be crafting? We're going to be crafting stone clubs. Now, to do this, in the previous video, I showed you guys how to harvest. We're going to go ahead and harvest a bunch of grass like this. There's a bug right there. One of the weakest kinds of bugs, so we can ignore it. Once again, using the R key. This little buff right here means that my well-being is going up because I spent time sitting next to a fire. This can be very important to keep with you to generate well-being and get this back up to full. Higher well-being, as we mentioned in a previous video, will directly determine how quickly your health recovers, your actual HP. So, alright, we've gained a whole bunch of twine, or of plant fiber. Now, we have to, unfortunately, craft all of this plant fiber and turn it into twine. Now, as we can see here, I did not have the inventory for that. Stack limit is 8, so we can create up to 8. There we go. We've made 8. Now you can see a whole bunch of these things turned green. We can now craft a bow, we can craft torches, things like that. We're not going to. The only thing we're going to craft are these stone clubs. So, we're going to come over here. Oh, we fell down because we did not have enough stamina. Remember what I said about stamina, always important. We're going to do this. We're going to find stones, and we found a bug. My last tip for this video will be about the beetles, and specifically the irradiated beetles. I'm not sure what else to really call them, but we will go over that one when we get to it, not right now. We don't really care about the rest of this, so we'll just, oh, here we go. We'll combine those. Okay. There we go. Bunch of stones. All right, nice and easy. So, now we have the stones. What are we going to do with them? Well, we could craft in our inventory right now, but you're going to very quickly find out this stacks. weapons, armor, do not. So instead, we're just going to go ahead and go back to town. Oh, look, a rat. Let's go ahead and show some combat real quick and see if we can get the next tip, which is that these guys will help you in combat. Oh. There we go. I hit him. We're just going to go ahead and do this, and yeah, that's fine actually. It attacked me, it hit me in this weird angle. Now, I got 20 XP for killing this guy. He did the final blow. As long as I did some damage to it, I will get XP. And then here are some more crafting materials. This meat will always have a chance to make you sick, even when you cook it. But in the beginning of the game, you do what you gotta do. The pelts are used to craft armor. This right here is made from this. You get enough of these, you take it to a crafting bench that you will discover in your 3rd or 4th mission, and you can create some pelt. That's about all you can really create with pelts, unfortunately. You have to get some other stuff, but these do sell pretty decently, so it's always worth it to harvest and stack a stack of 8 pelts, just so that when you go to that crafting bench, you can create a whole bunch of things to sell to the vendor who's nearby. We're not going to do that right this moment, though. Instead, we are going to focus on dealing with... Actually, you know what? Yeah, we will. Why not? We don't care about those things. We'll move these things around. There we go. And as you can see, I got +1 because of my harvesting perk. We're going to go ahead and go... Oop, we're going to go over here. We're going to fight this guy. Don't really care. He missed me. Ah, unfortunate. So now I'm going to have to take 2 extra turns to fight him. Oh, he dodged. So when you dodge an attack, you get to choose to drag your health bar in one direction. Either up, down, left, right, or once you have enough points in the dodge skill, diagonally, the 4 diagonals. Doing so will change the hit. So like for here, he dodged downward. That made my hit basically do this, and therefore I missed. Oh, perfect example. He's trying to attack me. One will possibly do damage here, one will do no damage here. Instead, if I dodge up, he hit the armor, did no damage, and he missed on this one. Very important to keep in mind, hitting and missing and dodging and all that. So even putting an attack like that, where I was going to waste 2 hits for sure, like this, if he dodged this way, I'm still hitting, and if he dodged this way, I'm still hitting, potentially, right? So it gives me a better chance to hit him, regardless of what he does. Again, just something to kind of keep in mind. Alright, so we've gained the resources. Yep. We fell down. We're going to go ahead and rest a little bit. There we go. Alright, so now we're in here. So now what do we do? Well, first things first, I'm going to go ahead and use the chest that I have unlocked access to. You do not start out with access to this chest, so keep that in mind. I'm going to go ahead and store a bunch of this stuff that I don't care about, so I get inventory space. Now, I'm going to go with that. Talk to the trader, hit trade. Now that this window is open, I need to actually move this one because I don't care what he has to say. Now that this window is open, he can walk around, and he will when the turn ends. But you can open your crafting window and just craft items to sell to him without worrying about him getting out of range and closing the crafting window or anything kind of silly like that. So we're just going to go ahead and do this. We're going to go ahead and craft a whole bunch of stone clubs just like this. See, there we go. He moved, but I still have the window open. So I can now just take all these stone clubs and I can sell them to him and I can get 80 copper. It's not a lot, but in the very beginning of the game, getting branches from trees, picking up stones off the ground, you do need branches, stones off the ground, and then plant fiber to turn into twine is a very efficient way to get some copper. It costs you a total of 2 twine. Each twine is 4 plant fiber. It costs you 1 rock, and it costs you 1 branch, and you'll get 20 copper. These 2 twine are 6 copper. This one branch is 2 copper. That's 8 copper. And this stone is 1. So that is 9 copper, and you sell it for 20. Always craft instead of selling raw materials. Always. That's pretty much it for making money in the early game. You can, of course, if you don't want to go digging for rocks, which especially later on, I don't like looking for rocks. I don't like trying to find rocks. You can choose to just create some improvised bows, especially if you get a really good axe for chopping down trees. You can chop down a whole tree all at once, collect all the wood real easy, doesn't use up much AP, and then you can take all the extra branches and 6 twine, which is a lot, and craft bows. We're going to go ahead and do that real quick. We're going to craft a few bows. 6. We're going to go ahead and... What can we do here? There we go. Bows do take up twice as much inventory space, so they're not as they're the same efficiency in terms of space, but you don't have to use stones, so that can be very beneficial to you. Your mileage may vary. There we go. Sold it. Done. Easy. No big deal. One of the most efficient things that you can make to sell once you complete the Mage's Quest and like the 3rd quest are antidotes. To create an antidote, all you need is 2 small venom glands and mold. Mold is gathered on the underside of rocks. Venom glands are gathered from snakes. These, you create one of them. The burn remedy, which will create one of those. We'll go ahead and store the rest of the mold for another time. And we will... Let's see here. Get rid of some of this. We'll waterproof you. We'll waterproof you. Oop, I did it wrong. There we go. All right. Use that up just for space. Okay. These potions sell for 1 silver each. That's pretty freaking good. The remedies sell for 35 copper, 1/3 of a silver. I strongly encourage that you make antidotes with your moss and not burn remedies for selling. You can do both, especially in the early game. Making the burn remedies is pretty easy. That root sells for 0.2 or 20 copper, 0.2 silver. So turning it into a burn remedy with 1 moss almost doubles your money. It can be pretty good. But it can also be just as good to just sell the root raw without converting it. It's the one exception to the do not sell raw resources rule, because then you get to keep your moss for making antidotes. And antidotes, or moss, can only be found on rotting logs and things like that on the ground. Kind of like how stones are a little bit harder to find. Trees grow back. They're very easy to get wood from. Moss, stones, a little more difficult. So, things to keep in mind. Make sure that you're getting your resources. Going exploring. That'll probably be my next tip. Do not go exploring caves until you have gathered enough resources on the ground to make sure that you are able to survive against rats, like these guys, in the cave. But more importantly, make sure that you have enough armor that you can survive the trolls that live in caves. Trolls are exactly as the name states, very large, very dangerous enemies, and you do not want to encounter them without armor. If you do have to fight a troll, or if you choose to fight a troll, like when you get better at the game like I am, then you can actually kind of cheese them a little bit. As you can see, as you can see here, oh, I'm too far away. This is a snake. I gained XP because I have not actually researched the snake until now. Right, so there we go. He does poison damage. Poison damage, like bleed damage. Pretty dangerous. I've gained a level. I can put that point into whatever I want. We'll figure out what that is after the stream, or after the recording. But we're going to go ahead and fight this guy real quick after we rest and gain some more of our stamina back. Alright, here we go. He has only 2 hit points, so it's very easy for me to fight him. Randomize my armor. Boom, he didn't dodge it, he died. And just like that, there's your venom gland for making your antidotes. There's your snake meat. One of the best things you can do. Finally, the final tip that we have before we let you go, this right here. This pile of bones is exactly that. It's a dead adventurer. And if you go examine this pile of bones, you will find random pieces of gear. You'll find shields, like this is where I got my buckler if I'm remembering correctly. You'll find helmets. You'll find all kinds of various things. It can be very beneficial to even just drop all your gear off, like, that you don't need. Like, empty your inventory, do all this stuff. Take only the barest provisions that you have to carry for weight reasons, and go run into the dangerous further out zones, and go harvest and find any corpses. Go run into a cave with only take like 3 torches with you. Run into the cave, bypass the enemies, don't fight them. If you get engaged by an enemy in melee and you try to leave, they will get an attack of opportunity on you and get a chance to do damage to you. So kind of keep that in mind. We're going to go ahead and do this number. Make the body go away so that way we don't accidentally think it's there. So we're going to go ahead and show that real quick, I guess. I've still got a couple minutes before I will end this video. Just go ahead and kill this guy, harvest him. There we go. Let's go find a cave real quick. Let's see here. Oh, there's one. So, what do caves look like? Oh yeah, we also probably should eat something because we are getting into the danger area. See, there we go. We're back to now -0. We're losing only 0.3, not from wellness, but purely from being cold. Like I said before, this is really, really important to make sure that you do not freeze. That is why I would actually even consider potentially putting points into this to make it so that you don't get as cold as quickly. I'm not going to do it right now, but keep it in mind. Also, wetness. So, when we hover over this rock, you see how it changes to a door icon versus like right here, there's nothing. That means that this is a cave. When you enter a zone, a cave, or the base stronghold building, the game is saved. Keep this in mind, because you can accidentally soft lock yourself if you're not paying attention. This is the inside of a cave. It is pitch black. There will be in the darkness pitfalls that you can fall into and die. Don't do that. There will be enemies that are hidden all throughout. There used to be a bug that caused the enemies to spawn infinitely. That has thankfully been fixed, so you no longer get into a situation where you just get overwhelmed and basically ran down, but caves are still very dangerous. We're going to go ahead and do this, we're going to do this, we're actually going to go ahead and go back outside so we can do this in the daylight for safety. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so we've gone ahead and dealt with that. We're going to craft a torch. Now, we do already have a torch, but we're going to craft a second torch because now we can see there's a pitfall right here. If we need to, we can take our torch and we can place it on the ground. As you can see here, the green means I can place it, and the orange means I cannot. So I can place my lit torch just like that. And now for 16 turns, this torch will stay here and will light the way. This is not terribly efficient. There's a better way to do it. And that better way is a campfire. Build a campfire, bring it into a cave, place it down right near the entrance, and then fill it full of firewood. Give yourself 100 turns worth of fire. It will light up just like the torch will, but it will allow you to basically go explore the immediately surrounding areas and still keep vision of where that exit is at all times. Very, very, very important that you make sure you keep vision of this exit. Because if you get far away from it and it's not daytime, good luck finding it. So we're going to go ahead and do a little bit of exploring here. in this cave. I don't think I've even been in this cave yet, so we're being very careful because, again, this is not an easy game. This is a dangerous game. So here we can see kind of the wall here of the cliff, or of the cave. So exploring further than this is not very worthwhile. Now, it is daytime, so there's a little bit of light here. Makes it easier to see it, which is very nice. We're going to go ahead and keep going here. Explore all the outskirts of the cave. Here's a little branch from the cave. We'll keep going here and looking for any dead bodies. That's the main reason why you explore caves in the early game, is you're looking for bodies. Looking for people who didn't make it that you can loot. Once again, we'll avoid falling. I always kind of like to recommend exploring by searching the outer walls of a cave first. You will find areas where there's water in caves, water hazards that you will have to traverse, so be careful of that. There are also, of course, alright, we've kind of explored that. There will be spikes on the ground, stalagmites and stalactites and stuff like that. Kind of like this boulder here. So you can see there's the entrance to the cave. Walking over them, just like walking over the brambles outside, will make it so that you take wellness damage. Yeah, here they are. These spikes right here. So try to avoid them when you can. If you can't avoid them for some reason... Oh, there goes my torch. The torch burned out. I can still use it as a melee weapon. I'm not going to, though. I'm going to just throw it away here. I'm going to take my new torch. When you equip the torch, you have to light it. See? Pretty straightforward. Alright. I don't think I've explored this area. Now, as I mentioned, enemies in these caves have been nerfed. It used to be that caves would spawn rats, and then they would spawn cave trolls. And the cave trolls and rats would keep spawning. Rats, as you have already seen, pretty easy to deal with. Cave trolls are very much not easy to deal with. Now, I'm hoping I don't run into one here, but if I do, I will probably just fight it for you to see if I can take it on. I do have enough healing salves. Also, if you have the ambient sound turned up, you can hear... Let's see if we can hear one here. There, you hear those footsteps in the distance? That tells you that there are, in fact, enemies in this cave. Where are they at? Don't know. But there are enemies in this cave. Somewhere. Now, we didn't come across any corpses. I think that's because I have, in fact, already explored this area. It is also now, unfortunately, nighttime. So exploring any further can be very dangerous. So keep in mind, when you go to explore caves, you need to make sure you take food, of course. You need to make sure you take wound salves, especially the further area caves. There's more dangerous enemies. You need to be able to heal. Alright. A bit of a longer video for tips and tutorials, but I figure that'll be useful. Feathers, of course, are used for making bows. The final tip that I was going to leave is the beetles. When you encounter beetles in this game, they will come in a couple different types. You will encounter bugs. You will encounter standard beetles, which you can find by harvesting on the ground. Large maggots, which when cooked provide a tiny amount of sap, but you know what? They're free food. You may as well eat them. But then you will sometimes encounter these special irradiated glowing bugs. These bugs, unlike this beetle, sell for 1.5 silver each. That's massive. That's so cool. Don't do it. Do not make the same mistake that I did. The beetle says it has a 50% risk of sickness, and it doesn't give very much in the way of sap. It also tells you that there's a chance that something weird will happen when you eat it. In any other survival kind of grimdark type game, that means you might get sick and die, or something bad. In this game, that is not what that means. Yes, you will have a high chance of getting sick from eating that beetle, but it gives you a skill point. This is not explained at the present version of the game, that eating this mysterious, magical, irradiated beetle will give you a skill point. I wish it was. I've suggested to the dev that that be the case, but for now at least, it is not. As to where you can find them, in the starting zone, you'll find like 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever, but you'll find them all over the place in areas where there are the corrupted ground, magical ground. I'm not sure what the name of it is really. There are these pulsing wounds on the ground, and as you get closer to them, a heartbeat, drumbeat sound will happen. And after a certain number of turns, they will send out a pulse around them based on their size. If you are standing within that pulse, based on your proximity, you will take immediate, massive amounts of well-being damage. So, and I mean like 40% well-being. This can kill you very, very quickly. So always listen for that drum beat when you're playing. Don't play with the sound off. And if you find a pulsing purple thing on the ground, be careful around it. There's some cool stuff that you can find, but it can also just kill you. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I will be making more video content throughout, a little more intermediate guides and things of that nature. This was more supposed to be a kind of first couple days guide, and then the future ones will go over different weapon types, actual cave and ruin exploration, and the questing system. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.